Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. My name is Robby Incmikoski, and we're thankful for the folks at Rhino Production to have us here in Center Township. They do fantastic work. Check them out on the web. Rhino Production does fantastic work for any video, editing, movies, anything you need. They do it all right here. And this is the first episode of a podcast that I want to be hyper local here to the city of Pittsburgh. And we're going to start with our very first guest, who I'm pleased to have join us here at the studios in Center Township. And her name is Erin Koper. She is running for City Council District 2 for the seat that's soon to be vacated by Teresa Cale Smith, who is going to retire. She is not seeking another term in City Council District 2. Teresa Cale Smith, by the way, president of City Council, and has done a fantastic job serving the people of Mount Washington and the rest of the district. But we wanted to talk to you, Erin, a little bit and just get to know you a little bit, okay? The whole purpose of being here is we as residents. I'm a resident of Mount Washington. I'm District 3. I cannot vote for you in this upcoming election. But people don't know their candidates enough. They see a yard sign, they see a name, and they see a letter next to your name. You're running on the Republican ticket. You could be far right in some people's eyes. You can be very moderate in some people's eyes. You can be very much down the center in some people's eyes. But the fact is, you're running for City Council District 2. Why?
Well, first, and that's a great point, Robbie, and thank you for having me on. I think this is a great way to talk to the residents and neighbors. We're all neighbors, right? And that's why, because I am a neighbor. I have grown roots in our district. I'm a homeowner. My husband and I got married at St. Mary's on the Mount, in
Right.
Mount Washington
Very nice.
in 2016. And we bought our first home. We rented on Duquesne Heights for 7 years and then bought our home in Elliott in 2016. So right when we got married. And summer of 2023 is when I noticed a big change in specifically my neighborhood. And I noticed crime went up, petty theft went up. I noticed more of the blighted homes with more blue ordinance signs of condemnation. And I said, I need to do something about this. So then I became a community organizer. Our meetings came back post-COVID in the fall of 2023. I started getting active in my community. I then became a community organizer 1 month after the meetings came back. And we started doing trash cleanups. We started doing neighborhood watch type because of the crime. And, through that, I saw working together in a nonpartisan way.
Right.
I'm working alongside Democrats, independents, and Republicans. But at the end of the day, we're all neighbors and we all want the same thing. We want public safety. We want a public works that works. And we want safe streets and lower taxes and those same things. So I want to be the one to bring that change.
So tell me about your husband a little bit. How'd
Yeah.
you guys meet? You got married, you said 2016
Yeah.
in St. Mary's on the Mount. How'd
Yeah.
you guys meet? Just tell me a little bit about your personal life, as
Yeah.
much as you're willing to share.
Sure. So we are from Weirton, West Virginia.
Okay.
So we are a steel town.
We meaning you, or you and your husband are both from Weirton?
Yeah, we're both from Weirton, West Virginia.
Is that where you guys met, back at home?
Yeah, so he went to the public high school and I went to the Catholic high school. And he's 2 years younger than me. So in high school, that's a big deal. I was 16. I was able to drive. So
Right.
he always,
So you were able to
I
get
drove him
where you
around.
need to go. Yeah, that's nice.
Yes. And so, yes. And actually, it even goes more than that. My father and his grandfather were really good friends.
Okay.
My dad, we'll get into that, but my dad worked for the city of Weirton. And my dad's very Irish. He's from Ireland. And my husband's family is very Irish. So my dad knew his grandfather, and I actually put one of my dad's yard signs for city council. My dad ran for that, and I remember putting it in his grandfather's yard. And the only reason why I remember this is because there's a cemetery directly across the street, and at 6 years old, I was like, I could never live next to a cemetery.
Right.
And it turned out that is my husband's grandfather. And so my dad, so we had a lot of history with our families knowing each other. And we dated, I was 24 and he was 22. And now I'm 44 and he's 42.
Oh, long time.
So we've been married for, it'll be 9 years in October.
Good.
And 19 years all around being a
And
couple.
then no kids, and you have no kids, dogs. Is that right?
We have 5 animals.
What, 5
I
animals?
have
What
a
do you
small
have?
farm in Elliott. Yes. No, I have three dogs, and I have 2 cats, and we rescue. So I work with animal charities, and I'm a big advocate for that. But we do rescue, and one of my dogs, Bentley, that we just rescued in September, just was Animal of the Year, Dog of the Year.
How do you get Animal of the Year?
So we rescued him. I don't really know how they do that in pick, but he was a
Did you
very
run like a campaign
no,
for?
I know, right? I said
Did you
2024.
like
I said
do we run a campaign like here's a dog? What makes him dog of the year? Does he behave well? Does he poop in the right spot? Like
I said
what happens?
2024 was a good year from my family and I for awards. But no, he was a very bad case of neglect and abuse.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
when they put his case up on their site, a lot of people were, devastated by he was a very severe case. So because he has overcome so much, and I had rescued that with them before. They chose one dog for the 2024 year to be kind of the spokes dog for the charity to raise money and fundraise. So we got to go to the fur ball in Ohio
That's a lot of fun.
on March 1st. And there was a state senator there from Ohio who spoke, and I got to speak in front of 600 Ohioans.
Right.
And but it's crazy because when I was out door knocking for my petitions to get on the ballot, I met someone who was one of my supporters who did not know that I rescued from this specific place, and she lives on Duquesne Heights in Mount Washington. And I said, "Oh my gosh, your dog!" Because she was happened to be
Right.
outside, and she was, "I rescued from Animal Charity of Ohio." And that very night, I was going to the fur ball,
Right.
so I brought that up in my speech. I said, we love across borders. I mean, Ohio, and we have Pittsburgh, people rescuing from
Right.
Pittsburgh. So
That's really nice.
yeah,
Let's do a few things. First of all, your background.
yeah,
You work in the makeup artist world. Is that right?
yeah,
How did you get in that? Try to give us
sure,
the Cliff Notes version, but
yeah.
just you work in the makeup world. Like, what did
Mhm.
you do for your career leading up into this?
Sure. Well, I went to West Virginia
Right.
University, and I graduated with a bachelor's in broadcast journalism and a minor in political science. And then I always wanted to go to school to be a makeup artist. And my parents said, well, you need to go to finish college, and then you can go do that if that's what you still want to pursue. So, long story short, I moved to Minneapolis right out of college, and I got one of my first jobs doing makeup artistry, because I knocked on every door of every TV station in Minneapolis, and I got that door closed.
Yeah.
And
I'm familiar with that in my career.
I walked into newspaper, everything. So I started to work at Neiman Marcus and a retail store
Right.
and doing makeup there. And fast forward 20 years later, I've done production work. I've traveled an entire territory, managed stores, managed employees
Right.
over 7 states. And so it's been a very fun career. And but it's all about making women look and feel beautiful, but also managing retail stores and making companies money.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's good. Making money.
mhm.
It's never a bad thing. When you look at like what motivates people, right? Like we understand your motivation and what did it. You just said it a couple moments ago, but let's shift the focus to the voters who are watching this right now in District 2. What makes you qualify for this position? And let me just leave it that first question. What makes you qualified to do this, and why should people vote for you?
Because, well, first of all, my heart's in it,
Right.
and I want to genuinely help people. I'm a resident, you're a resident. I believe, working with people as a community organizer and across party lines, I see where we can all work together. And on a local level, I think we can put our national politics in some ways aside to
Right.
work for, we just want our potholes fixed. We just want our streets plowed. We just want safe streets. We want police officers staffed. We want to retain our police officers. I mean, these are things I think everybody across the board can get on board with.
Yeah.
And but that's basically it. I mean, I think and what makes me qualified is because I just told you I've managed a lot of retail stores. I'm able to build relationships. It's all about working together for the common goal. I was making my company money, not losing them money.
Yeah.
And you have to build relationships and train people to across these regions to do their best work for you. So I'm able to management skills.
Yeah. So I wonder this question myself.
Mhm.
When like my city council rep, what does my city council rep do? Can you name specific things on how you can help residents in District 2?
I'm sorry. What?
Specific things, like what things do city council reps help with? Like what types of issues can you help them with on a day-to-day basis? Because
Yep.
you are a normal person like
Yeah.
us. When you see most of these politicians, and let's be realistic, you see it on both sides. This is not a partisan interview.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to persuade any voters to vote a certain way. That's not what we're here for. We just want to know what you think and what things it is that you can do if elected
Yeah.
that you can do for the residents in District 2. Get into specifics. What can you do?
So the role of city council is to allocate, advocate, and legislate, right? And I believe community engagement is huge for that. I believe that we should be transparent and working with voters. I would even like to issue maybe a survey if I were to be elected to actually hear from all 35,000 residents. Not all are registered voters, but I want to hear what every single person has to say that's a taxpayer in our district that affects them. I want to know the issues that are affecting them. And I'm learning that while I'm door knocking right now. You know, I'm talking to voters. A lot of people they simply want speed bumps on their streets. They simply want
So speed bumps is one thing. What
speed
else?
bumps. They want 311, the city services. They
Okay.
want a lot at our community meetings.
So like you have a car that's been, or like I saw on Neighbors on the Mount, a motorcycle that was illegally parked next to a fire hydrant. It's been there for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to have that there.
Yeah.
I would hope, thankfully, we haven't had to use that fire hydrant. Who knows if it prohibits fire personnel from accessing that, right? Like, I mean, these are real life issues that in a jam, a fireman might need. That 30 seconds might be a difference between life and death for someone. Like,
Right,
we have no
absolutely.
idea.
Yeah.
So like, are those kinds of things that you can get done?
Yeah,
Like,
well, you have to address the departments that are running these, and then you have to advocate for your neighborhoods, and then you have to reach out to the residents and let them know that you're working on these things, addressing them. And we have a lot of laws on the books. We just need to make sure that they're followed through.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. If people are wondering, one other thing, and I'm going to need a quick answer because we're wrapping up, but
okay.
but you talk about working across the aisle, right? And
Yeah.
that's a thing that's like unheard of right now. Like, oh my God, how can you Republicans be friends with a Democrat? How do you Democrats be friends with Republicans?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Because I think we realize after a while we have more in common than we have apart from one another, regardless of how people vote.
Yeah.
I might vote different from you. I might vote the same as you.
Mhm.
How do you work across the aisle like that? And that's going to be important because you're in a city
Yeah.
heavily Democrat, and
Yes.
it has been for a century.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to listen to each other. And I always find that, and this is what I've learned through the grassroots. I've done a lot of grassroots on the ground for other races. Specifically, one was our county executive race, Joe Rocky.
Yep.
And through that race, I saw this opening for my race because I saw a lot of the public safety issues, a lot of the things that I have spoken about through this interview, that everyone, Democrat, Independent, Republican, they're all on the same board with. You know, we just want safe streets. We want our public works to work,
Yeah.
and that's just it. I mean, and I think that if we stick to listening to the candidates and hearing what they have to say, and being able to be an educated voter, and being able to make the educated choice. I've had a lot of people already tell me, quite honestly, that it doesn't bother them that there's an R next to my name.
Right.
I know not everyone's going to feel that way,
Right.
and that's okay. But at the same time, I think people should be open-minded because at the end of the day, it's hard to be a candidate. It's hard to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I really just genuinely want to do a good job, and I want to stay in Pittsburgh. And I want to, if I'm going to stay, I want to have a hand in making it better.
So we're wrapping up here. We get about 2 minutes left with you, Erin. About your dad. He passed away. How long ago did your dad pass?
2019.
So 2019. So you're looking at 6 years-ish years when your dad passed away. I mean, I know that means a lot to you. And I know you said, your dad would be proud of what you're doing right now, right? Because I feel like I want to say you launched your campaign, was it either on his birthday or the day he passed?
The
Is
day
that what
he
it was?
passed
The
away,
day he
actually.
passed. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't.
what it was.
I
Yeah.
try not to do it that way, but there was not a lot of days I had
Right.
For the venue that we had.
But tell me a little bit about your dad. Just
Yeah,
on
okay.
how proud your dad would be.
Yep,
you
my
doing this.
dad is
What's your dad's name?
John.
John. Yep.
So
okay.
my dad is from Ireland.
Right.
He came for the American dream with my oldest brother and sister and my mom. He worked his first job for $1 an hour.
Right.
And then he was the director of public works in my hometown, zoning building inspector.
Yep.
I come from a family of service. My brother was a police officer. My 2 other brothers are military. And I believe it's in my blood to serve. And I think my dad would be thrilled that I'm doing this. And I think he is watching and guiding me this entire way. Now I'm getting emotional, but
Yeah, but well, we're going to give this platform to all 3 candidates in this race. So if you want to have a chance to talk to him, how can they go online, support you, if people watch this interview and are compelled to vote for you,
Yeah.
what can they do?
You can look on my website at koperforcouncil.com. And if you want to reach out to me at info@koperforcouncil.com.
And that's Erin Koper, Erin, last name
Yes.
Koper, Koper. Erin Koper is her name,
Yes.
running for City Council, District 2, and we appreciate her joining us. Erin,
Thank you.
thanks for doing this. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
thank you. That was fun. Thank you.